Welcome back to Mega Man 7, everyone. In the last part, we got to the intro stage and took on Freezeman, and now we're going to Burstman, who is my personal recommendation for the Robot Master you go after first, unless you want to get like every 100% of like all the items and such. It's a pretty fun level to go through, and I do kind of like this theme, but as I said, Mega Man 7 soundtrack isn't that amazing. It's okay for what it is, but it's not really that much I would listen to on my own time. With the exception of the intro stage, the Freezemans, and probably the ending, but we'll get to that later. Because I love the ending theme. And, there's an extra life right there. You can get that with Rush Coil. I personally am not going to do so, because I think I'm fine, and there's lots of spots to get extra lives later on. These blocks, just avoid them, and this here is an E-Tank. You can get that, that's pretty awesome. You know, if you use one against Freezeman, you know, that's better to you. And it'll be helpful. And these guys will explode if you shoot them too much, and that's a bolt right there. I've probably already collected some, but that's what they look like. If you're curious. Up here with Rush Coil, you can find an extra life. And I'm probably gonna cough right now, excuse me. I'm sorry for that. I have been coughing like non-stop these past 2 weeks, and I really need to like take some medicine or something. It's like, I can't stop. And it's just annoying. But, you got these swimming Metools, or yeah, and if you'll remember my classic playthroughs where I called them like hard hats, I think I'm actually wrong in them. I think their official name is actually Metool. Well, I think that's in the X series, but I'm not completely sure about it in Mega Man 7 or the classic series. And we got this mini boss guy who shoots fire. It's a crab thing, and bubbles and fire. I wonder if he's related to Bubble Crab from Mega Man X2, because there's a Maverick in that game named Bubble Crab. And he's a crab, shoots bubbles and fire. He'll just shoot these bubbles and fire, and occasionally he'll charge at you, which he hasn't done yet, and he didn't do. Basically what he'll do is he'll just charge at you, you can slide under the attacks, and, you know, and now we're floating up. And, yeah, basically if the water is purple and bubbly like this, you'll be able to float up it. Up. And be careful in this part though, because you do get like sort of I don't know how to call it, but like when you jump into the water you'll sink pretty far, and if you do that wrong in like over the spike pit, you will go in the spikes. And it's time for everyone's favorite Mega Man related thing, appearing and disappearing blocks. Thankfully this is like one of 2 times they appear in the game, and they're pretty easy, as I shall demonstrate. And watch them like die right here. Charger Buster right before you go down, it'll be helpful against these guys. Just saying. A lot of people don't like the charge shots, but I personally don't really mind it, honestly. For an SNES game, I really think Mega Man 7 is pretty good looking. And I like how like everything looks and all that, but one complaint a lot of people have about this game is that Mega Man's sprite is pretty big. And yeah, I do kind of agree it's a little big compared to the NES games, but the thing about it is the level design is sort of accustomed to be around this big sprite, so I don't really mind it that much. And some people call it a little clunky. I honestly think it controls just fine, honestly. I've never really had much issue with it. I mean, it's kind of like going from the X Super Nintendo games to the X PlayStation games, because when I went from X3 to X4, it felt a tad stiffer, but I adjusted. And, by the way, for those of you who might want me to do the X series, maybe, actually, because I played X1 through X4, and I started X5 a few days ago. I might consider doing it. But anyway, Burstman. For now, his weakness is the Freeze Cracker, but he kind of has 2 weaknesses, and we'll get into that a little later. For now, this is what you're going to want to do, and if this is your first time fighting with the Mega Buster, then just jump over these bubble shots and shoot through those. These bubbles shots will bounce you back, and the bombs encased in the bubbles, basically if you get caught in one of these, they will float up to those spikes and try to kill you. And then it'll summon these bubbles, which will basically rise up to the ceiling again to try and kill you that way. And the freeze cracker can also be shot in directions like that, too, and it bursts off like that. So it's a pretty useful weapon, but I don't use it that much. As a whole, Mega Man 7's weapons, they're okay, they're fine enough. There's some that I like using, but others I don't. I mean, it's definitely better than Mega Man 5's. Mega Man 5's Robot Master weapons are pretty much borderline useless. I almost never use them except for the gyro shots. But anyway, the Danger Wrap fires out a bomb encased in a bubble, doesn't it? Yes, but it can also be used to encase other things besides bombs. And yeah, with that, we get the Danger Wrap. I would explain with these weapons to you, but they already do it for you, so it's good for me. And next up, we have Cloudman. Does this stage seem at all familiar to you? Take a look at it. Reminds me a lot of Airman for Mega Man 2. Just saying. Watch out for these guys, they're kind of annoying. But yeah, this is a pretty fun stage to go through. And this is one of the reasons I went to Freeze Man first, because in this stage, the Freeze Cracker can be used for something. Basically, this thing, if you hit it with the Freeze Cracker, it will make it snow instead of raining. And that'll help us out a little later. First, we get an extra life up here. The snow will help us out a little later, so I'll be sure to point that out. And these guys from Mega Man 3 are kind of annoying in this game. I just found them pretty annoying, because they take a little more hits and they move a little faster. Frame rate, thank you. Because I generally don't like it when games lag. It's not really fun. Come on, thank you. So this week I just got off school and I'm on summer break. Pretty awesome. And so that's why I could finally record Mega Man 7. And my SAT 2 in biology is pretty much also done and over with, so, you know, I can play some more video games and all that. And this is why you want snow, by the way. If it's still raining, these platforms will, like, be barely visible to you, and you'll have to be, like, they'll only appear as you get closer to them. But when it's snowing, basically, it's a little easier. Oh, and those guys from Mega Man 2 are back. However, you can use this trick to get tons of bolts, like that. And there's actually a really awesome spot where you can, like, just grind up for bolts later. First, get up here, extra life. Do it again. U. So that's the R, U, and H panels. Next up is the S. And O. Now we're just gonna hop up here, and another Sniper Joe. Take him out. And alright, these guys are kind of pretty annoying. If you shoot them in the bottom part, then the top half will come off and, like, be a propeller and annoy you. But if you can shoot it in the head, then all of it will be destroyed. And I really don't like these guys at all. Come up here for something interesting. Remember that whistle? It's been a while, Mega Man. Here's a little information. Your weapons can be used to discover hidden areas. Try using the flame weapon in the woods. Okay, thanks. If you want to get a certain item later in the game, you're going to need to find that, and there's another spot where Proto Man, you can also find him. Heal base, in this game, all he really does is, like, pop in a little bit to give you some secrets and stuff. And I'm trying to get this, thank you. Anyway, right here is the best spot in the game to grind up for bolts. Basically, You get these guys to drop these birds on you, then you just fire at it with a charge shot, and most of the time when you're at full health and your weapons are maxed out, they'll only drop bolts. So thus you can use that to get a ton of bolts. And yeah, you'll pretty much be set for the rest of the game if you do this. I'm not really going to use it that much though, considering this game is not that hard for me. I kind of find it a bit easy compared to some of the other ones. But yeah, I'm just doing this to show it off. And that's enough. And hey, extra life. Sweet. Yeah, these guys are pretty annoying. They'll either blow, like you away, or suck you in. And it's very annoying because of these bottomless pits. So be careful. Your first time, they can be very annoying in that regard. And now we're coming up to Cloudman, who's weak against the Danger Wrap. I'm gonna cough once more. I'm sorry. Anyway, Cloudman is very easy. Because the thing about these Robot Masters, once you have their weakness and you hit them with it, basically it stun locks them and their pattern will reset every time. Like for example, I'll show his full pattern where basically like, he does all that and all that. But like, once you hit it with him, his pattern will reset from the beginning, and once he's like vulnerable, you can just keep on doing it and he can't do a thing about it. And you know, I kind of like that because some of the Robot Masters were a bit more difficult. And, you know, makes them not that bad, but if you want them to be a challenge, you can by just using the Mega Buster. And yeah, that was Cloudman. And that background's a bit, like, with all the clouds, it's a bit disorienting. The Thunderbolt fires out electrically charged spheres, right? Yes, and it can also be used to power some electronic machines. We get the Thunderbolt. It's one of the more useful weapons, but I don't really do that much. Because I just personally like sticking the Mega Buster for a lot of these games, just cause. And, now, for the final of these 4 Robot Masters. Junkman! Look at that up there. That's a Super Famicom. And there's Super Famicoms all in the background. And if you use Rush Search in one of these areas, you'll find a Game Boy. I don't know where it is, personally, but it's around here somewhere. And I kind of like that. Though I find kind of odd is in the Mega Man X collection, which also had like PS2 and Xbox releases, it wasn't changed. So like you can find Nintendo consoles in Microsoft/Sony property, and I'm like just like, why? It's kind of odd to me. Anyway, one of the annoying things about this level are these cockroach enemies, because they're very hard to hit with their like, because they're small and all that, and they're like infinitely respawn in those junk house things you see. They're not that bad, though, you know. You just got these flying heart Metul enemies. I used to call them Metuls. And here is actually one of the instances where you can use your weapons. Freeze Cracker will freeze this lava. And that's also why I went to Freeze Man first, because of this. It's a secret alternate pathway you can take. And if you freeze this, S, we finally have all RU, S, and H circuit pins. And with that, we have access to the Super Adapter, which is very awesome. It's basically like a combination of the adapters in Mega Man 6. You can jet with it, and when you charge up, you can use the Fist Attack, which also is in, I hear, Mega Man 5 for the Game Boy. I really like using this. It's very fun. So what am I going to do now? Now I'm just going to commit suicide. On purpose, I say. That was on purpose, because there's another little secret we can get if we take the other way. But let me demonstrate how awesome the Super Adapter is. I don't like how you have to do that animation every time you get it, but I don't really mind that much. For one, you charge up a lot faster the Fist rather than the Mega Buster. That's pretty good. right there. But it's also got like that boomerang element to it, where you like, you know, it comes back to. Here is where you're gonna want to use the Thunderbolt. It'll power this machine. Here's another pretty awesome place where you can use the Super Adapter because of this jetpacking feature it has. Works really well. Anyway, the reason why you wanted to hit that is because this ladder right here, it will give you this. This is the Rush Jets. That is Rush Jets. That's how you will find Rush Jets. And it's exactly as it works in the classic games, or the NES games, but I don't really use it that much. I like to use the Super Adapter more, honestly, but that's where the best way you can find it, because otherwise you're going to have to buy it later on. Here's another spot where you can use Thunderbolt. It turns on these magnets. You don't need to turn on the magnets, though, so if you don't have Thunderbolt when you come to the stage, no problem. It won't do much. And here I just switch to another weapon, then quickly switch back to the Super Adapter, because I'm going to try not to use it like as much as like the Super Adapter, because it can get kind of overpowered in some areas, but I find it to be very useful, and it's like really very useful in my opinion. I use it a lot personally, and especially after we get a certain upgrade to it. Anyway, now we come to Junkman, who, when you have his weakness, the Thunderbolt, is made incredibly easy. Seriously, look at this. Remember that stun-locking pattern in Cloudman stage? Well, look at this. You hit him with this, he gets electric charge. Goes to the other side, hit him again, other side, hit him again. Rinse, wash, repeat. It's pretty pathetic. His pattern itself is kind of hard, but when you have this, it's pathetic. He didn't even touch me once. Eh. Anyway, right there we got our new weapon. The Junk Shield will protect the user with rotating spheres, right? Yes, but the spheres can only absorb so much damage before they are destroyed. We get the Junk Shield. It's a pretty good shield, but I don't use it too much. And anyway, that's enough for this part, so next time on Let's Play Mega Man 7, we're gonna see what happens now that the 4 Robot Masters are done for. I'll see you guys then. Goodbye.